Okay, fuck it. Here it is. How I ended up spending a year working for a glowy for hire agency. Warning, very long, kinda boring, no conclusion. True story though, but names changed and identifying details omitted because lots of NDAs, as you'll see. December 2019. I'm broke and unemployed. Applying to jobs online nonstop, not even reading them at this point. Not unusual, but I've had shit luck, so I leave it for a day. Next day I read it and holy fuck. 55k a year, plus 3k immediate hiring bonus, clerical work job, and all I need is to qualify for secret clearance. I can probably do that, so I email them back, say I'm interested. Phone call with the recruiter, they seem cool, they give me the gist of the job. Seems like a normal-ish office work. Company building is also a generic office. 2 more interviews and I'm thinking, bro, come on, this isn't Silicon Valley. But they're so polite, so I go along with it. Get told they want to hire me, I just gotta get the clearance. Another month goes by and it's nearly January, but I get the clearance. Start date, January 6th, yes, that one, fast forward. Day 1, they throw not 1, not 2, but 7 packets of NDAs and paperwork at me to sign. Holy fucking shit. Okay, goddamn, give me a pen. Make sure you read them, you have all day. I read them, they bring me lunch at noon so I could work through it. My brain is melting by the end of it, but the gist is, if you leak anything, we'll fire you, sue you, and throw you to the government who will fuck your ass. Lots of long words that look made up. Like, I'm not stupid, but it genuinely just looks like schizobabble. Finish signing up everything by 3:30 p.m. Good, you can go home for the day. Tomorrow we'll introduce you to your team. They also gave me the 3k bonus as an e-transfer immediately, which is odd, but okay. Sleep like a rock when it's rent paid. Back at company early next morning. Meet my new boss, some Indian guy with a very Indian name. Just gonna call him Deep because that's what his name ended with, but kinda awkward in the way most Indian immigrant men are. Tells me that for now, we're gonna deal with non-classified stuff to ease me into everything. The company, by the way, is basically a gigantic PI conglomerate type thing. Think Pinkertons but less violent. First week goes by, quick and easy. I'm just helping Deep out by finding docs for him. Some of the stuff in them's a bit skeezy, like pictures of dudes fucking hookers, taken through windows. Meet a few more workers on the team too. Andrew, Lee, and Mark. Mostly kept away from them because they're working on other things. Soon enough, February rolls around and Deep says I'm doing well. Everyone's also getting a little freaked out by COVID because all we have are the China numbers and they're bad. Deep says I'm going to work with Lee on his project. He's a Chinese American and he's always taken off time recently because he's worried about his relatives. The project is different for sure. Tracking certain people in Boston of all places who are suspected to be connected to terrorism. Nothing paranormal though. The point of all of this is to make you understand. This job was normal right up until it wasn't. Anyway, I don't know if these people were threats or not. But we were basically just making dossiers out of the shit our field people were gathering. March hits. We're sent home on the 6th and told not to come back. Wait, I'm fired? No, the whole state's about to lock down. We're gonna mail you a work laptop to use, just stay safe. From home? Yeah. When you get it, log in with your company credentials and message Deep. Well, fuck me. Okay. The money's so good, so being able to jerk off and play video while working just makes it better. An entire month passes before I get the laptop. I was still getting paid, but holy fuck. I had nightmares near the end about waking up to a layoff notice. The laptop isn't even a good model. It's some Acer piece of shit branded with the company logo. Pop it open, hook it to my Wi-Fi, log into Outlook. Over 1,000 new messages. All corpo scam mailing list bullshit. Message Deep on Teams, no reply. Fuck it. Keep the laptop open and go back to Path of the Exile. No message all day. No message back all week, despite me messaging Deep every day. Nobody on my team is online, and I don't know any other contacts. Literally do nothing and get paid until someone finally messages me almost 2 weeks into May. Lee quit, Deep's on sabbatical, and flew back to India. Mark was supposed to contact me, but he got fucking fired. And Andrew got reassigned. They basically forgot they hired me, but kept paying me. Only in corporate America. Well, it's not your fault. We do have someone else on the RVS team. Are you okay with the transfer? I don't know what the fucking RVS team is, but yeah, okay. We'll prep your transfer paperwork. Sit tight. 2 weeks pass and I'll make sure to check in every day to not get fired. Okay, you're ready. Just sign this new NDA and attend the meeting on the 30th. Then call Shane on the Monday after. New NDA? Wait, the 30th? A fucking Saturday? It's just 2 hours in the morning. You'll also get a 10k year raise for the position change. Yes sir, right away. Sir, thank you for the job and extra time off, sir. Oh, and here's your wiki key. Wiki key? For the company wiki. Turn on your VPN and go to this website. Try it. Get a login page asking for an employee ID, password and key. You could read anything at access level 2 and below. Start with the RVS onboarding page. Yes sir, thanks sir. I'll get right onto that, sir. Call ends. Call ends. I go back to clearing T16s for the rest of the night. Wednesday before the meeting. Okay, maybe I should check that wiki. Thanks to Gamer as he loses his third hardcore character of the week. Hop onto company wiki. Put the key in, get access. Looks half-assed to be perfectly honest. But there's a link to the RVS onboarding on the front page and I click it. Turns out RVS is short for Remote Viewing Support. I had no idea what that meant at the time, so I clicked the article for remote viewing. I felt like my brain was melting by the end of it. Can't tell if I'm being pranked or not, but decide to go with it to make a good impression either way. From what I can tell, an RVS team is basically made up of a bunch of people who take information from the RV team and make it usable. There are tons of forms and procedures that are supposed to be allowed, and I could practically smell the middle manager semen through the webpage. If I'm being honest, I only spent about 45 minutes on the wiki before I shut the laptop. It's almost 3 times as much work as I was doing before I got almost 3 fucking months of free money. To make matters worse, the meeting on Saturday is at 9 AM according to the schedule on Outlook. I have not been getting up before 11:30 for almost 2 months. Spent several miserable days adjusting back to the same sleep schedule. Read a bit more on the company wiki too, but again, at this point I have no idea if I'm being fucked with. Like, was I really supposed to believe there were dudes doing telepathy experiments in the same building I was in a few months ago? Anyway, Saturday rolls around and I managed to fall out of bed at 8:45 just in time to gulp down a monster and get into the Zoom call. At 9 sharp, the leader of the meeting jobs the call, and I hit record because I'm half asleep. We'll call him Hugo, and he sounds about as tired as me as he pops open his PowerPoint slides. At least the meeting isn't going to be overly formal. Hugo introduces himself as a PMR tech and reads the title of the first slide, Intro into Parapsychology, in the most soulless, corporate way you can imagine. Hugo proceeds to go to the next slide and tell us, there are 12 people, including Hugo, the contents of the meeting, recent history, psychic field, psychic abilities, common misconceptions. No time to ask anything, and we're all put on mute. Then the trip begins. The gist of the recent history is that right after Stargate ended, the DIA made a remote viewing program, and it was used in the War on Terror. Also, some Russian man named Yuri wrote a paper on how psychic abilities work, and it's legit. 30 minutes of schizo history later, Hugo tells us to take 5 while he preps the next part. I piss, brush my teeth, grab a Pop-Tart, and go back to the laptop. 5 minutes later, Hugo starts up again. Psychic field is a non-material information field that permeates all matter and energy. Consciousness forms when the psychic field has enough information in it, plus enough change in it, and the change is coherent. Everything you see or touch, or I guess even pass by, gets sucked into this extended zone around your consciousness, where information gets read and written. Everyone does this all the time, but with training or practice you can control it. Real psychic shit is ESP stuff, fake psychic shit is fireballs, telekinesis, etc. Oh, and if you tell anyone, you're gonna be fired, sued, and probably jailed, just so you know. Before I go, just remember to report any suspected NPE contact to your supervisor. Meeting over. The fuck is an NPE? Pop open wiki and search. Non-physical entity. You've gotta be fucking joking. PMR stands for Psychomaterial Research, or the study of how psychic fields affect and are affected by matter. NPEs are literally ghosts, spirits, fucking mind viruses, and something in a level 3 page labeled Detached Consciousness Entities. I don't even want to know at this point, but I'm pretty sure I can imagine what's in there. Remote viewing is an unblockable fucking magic way of pulling information from psychic fields across vast distances. The only disadvantage to RVing is that it's inherently very inaccurate, because not only does it require psychic training, but it draws a link to the target using matter and energy that contains psychic information that can corrupt it. This is why Stargate was shut down. They couldn't figure out how to remote view the corruption of the info. Corporate America's solution? Have 20 people do it at the same time and blame the RVS team if there are any major fuck-ups. I have been hired as a professional fall guy for psychics. I have been hired as a professional fucking fall guy for fucking corporate psychics. It's all sort of too much, so I shut down, go back to Path of the Exile, and order a pizza. Rest of the weekend goes by in a haze. Monday rolls around and I message Shane on Teams. He's delighted to have me, calls me up immediately, and we spend an hour going over everything before he gives me my first assignment. For the next 3 weeks, I'm spending 10 hours a day, sifting through handwritten documents and transcribing audio from RV sessions. Did I mention that this is boring? Imagine having to transcribe some guy's brain dump ramblings, and you can't fuck up anything because any word might be relevant. I wanna die. Finally finished. Send everything to Shane. Oh, this is great, thanks. You're approved for a 0.05% commission on this, by the way. Huh. Okay, how much is 0.05%? $1,141.65 this time. Holy fuck. This is not a $65,000 a year job. This is an $80,000 a year job. Well, fuck me. Making 2 times as much as I was making in 2018 for office bitch work sounds pretty good. The months fly by, and bro, RV info is some weird shit. Sometimes the viewers don't even write words. They like sketch out pictures that look like a kindergartner drew them, and we have to classify them. Other times, they'll get sensory information like the smell of a place, and there's a special form for classifying that for later use. Everything is kept fairly anonymized, so we don't tell the specifics of what's being viewed a lot of the time, but usually we have an idea. Example, a politician's favorite spots, the interior of some guy's house where he's hiding something, a cave where a terrorist fuck is hiding. Slowly, it starts to become routine, right up until I get a weird email one day. It's Andrew, and the email looks like some kind of shitty attempt at a phishing scam. Don't even read it, the security department tests us with this shit all the time. Send it to the phishing reporter thing and go back to work. Weeks go by. Forget about it. Too busy stacking paper. Suddenly, email from someone new. The chief of our department. Oh fuck, it's a meeting. I can't refuse in 4 days. I'm gonna get fucking fired. God damn it. Show up to meeting, cam on, wearing decent clothes and a new haircut how to get it legally. Mr. Anon, you were contacted by Andrew last name on September 18th. Yeah. What color was the text? Sorry, what? The text in the email. What color was it? I don't understand. I took one look and deleted it. Blue, I think? Blue is the default. Understood. I regret to inform you that we will no longer be requiring your services. Your layoff paperwork will be sent to you later today. Please note that this isn't a reflection on your performance, and you may seek references from your immediate coworkers. Fuck. Suddenly realize I should have been saving shit. Try to access the wiki and grab some shit. Cover my laptop cam and use my phone to take pics of the pages. I get 2 of them finished before my access is revoked. 2 NPE documents, non-interactive psychic impression entities and interactive psychic impression entities, with a 3rd psychomaterial impression disruption. Half loaded before the page cuts off, so no images or diagrams. Access revoked. Apparently, that didn't do that before the meeting. Try to message my team members. They're all offline. Rather, unblocked. Check the recording I made on Saturday morning meeting in the May. It's still there. Play it back, recorded with phone. Transfer all the phone files to my main PC and back them up on a USB. Ping. It's the layoff paperwork. I get 2 weeks pay, technically more than they were required to give me, and yet another NDA, this time with sections that I have to sign mid-document. To summarize, you will delete any recordings and store documents, signed to agree. You will not disclose the nature of your work at company name, signed to agree. You will receive a package in the mail and send our laptop back, signed to agree. You will put your job title as Information Processing Technician on your resume, signed to agree. You will give phone number as the phone number of our company, signed to agree. If you fuck this up, we will sue you so hard the trace amounts of precious minerals in your body will be repossessed, signed to agree. Sign this again to say you actually read the document, signed to agree. Can't exactly refuse, so I do it. Disconnect laptop from the internet and try copying saved video to USB. Surprisingly, it works. I made enough cash in 10 months to live on for a year, plus unemployment, so it's not that bad. 2 days later, the box arrives and I send the laptop back. Never heard from them again. Find a new job 4 months later making $50K. Rest in peace. So it's just been under 3 years, and I haven't had any feds at my doorstep. But I'm also mostly quiet about the stuff I've got. The thing is though, I keep seeing bits of info I saw on the company wiki getting posted around in places mixed with pure disinfo, and it really makes me wonder, Allegedly, there was some US disinfo campaign going on in the 50s and 90s to make psychics look stupid, so nobody would suspect the CIA was trying to develop psychic spies. But it's supposed to have stopped after the USSR fell and all that shit went public. I mean, the history section of the presentation was pretty clear that Stargate went right into practical use after the project ended, so maybe they just kept it up to this day. Anyway, that's the story. Never found out why exactly they fired me, but I guess Andrew might have fucked me over? Maybe it was all a ploy to get rid of me when they realized I probably wasn't supposed to be working in that department anyway. I wish I had more of a stinger to this, but reality is often disappointing. Still, it was basically my intro into X shit, so that's something. Thanks for posting it, but it reads like it's fake, and no doubt at risk of getting vaporized from orbit. You can't post any corroborating information like the alleged saved partial wiki pages. Technically, it's pictures of those wiki pages, and it's on an old phone that I use for an alarm clock. But yeah, the only way I'd post that shit is if I blackbox the company logos and anything identifying. Same issue with the video. I have to fucking put a giant square in the top left to block out the company logo, and bleep a bunch of shit where Hugo, not his real name obviously, talked about people working there. Right, MS painting a few black boxes over this stuff and just leaving the text is pretty much insurmountable. I understand, Anon. It's not insurmountable. It's about having to go through something around 13 or 14 pictures filled with text, figure out what does and doesn't violate the fucking NDA, and what does and doesn't let some autist figure out where it came from. Worse for the video, since honestly, I'd probably have to mask the voice in it too, just to be sure. That's at least 2 to 3 days of work for the wiki pages because I have a full-time job and shit to do, and easily 2 weeks for the video. I didn't even really think about most of this shit much until recently because of paying for bills and feeding myself is more important. Worked for the Men in Black in a remote viewing department. Never even thought about this shit until 2 weeks ago. That said, for me, transcription of what wiki pages said would be sufficient. It would be easy enough to fake a screenshot anyway, and all I want is the context on the extremely off chance you're completely bullshitting. Most interested in the remote viewing / psychic training protocols. Okay, well if you want a transcription, I could actually do that, but it's still a week or two. The dudes weren't MIB though, to be clear. They were corporate PIs, with some government connections, and a lot of just normal people working there. I'm very sure that most departments there have no idea what was going on in other departments. Most of the stuff I dealt with in the first bit was very mundane, and even the remote viewing shit was just them building dossiers on people. The thing is, if I post screenshots, someone will go, you faked them. If I post a video, someone will go, that's just you in the video. If I post transcripts, people will go, nice LARP, maybe not you. The only way to really confirm it would be to drop the source files unedited. Even if I didn't fear the government, I do fear the legal ass reaming I would get if it ever made it back to these guys. Most interested in the remote viewing / psychic training protocols. So the 3 articles I got were basically, in layman's term, shitty ghosts are just recordings that play back when you encounter them. Spooky ghosts that can fuck with you because they use consciousness to emulate a sort of pseudo-awareness. How to purge an item with psychic information, i.e. how to unhaunt something, or make it so nobody can get a psychometric read off of it. I only got 1 or 2 because I was already on 1 when I tabbed over to the wiki. For training stuff, a lot of it wasn't strictly available to me, since I was RVS, not RV. But everything I saw said and indicated that what we were doing was basically what they did in the Stargate program. Like, it was pretty much an exact copy. As far as I know, our company had people who were in the continuous program during the Afghanistan war, and they carried the techniques over. I doubt it would be much different to what you can find on the Stargate paper. Give a subject who doesn't know shit on the target. Give them an anchor, tell them to remote view it. That kind of thing. Ghost. Elaborate. Shitty ghosts, as you describe them, resemble my own experience with things I like to think as of memories left behind by someone. What the fuck is a spooky ghost, and how and why is it hijacking my mind? Yeah, sure, no problem. So ghosts of all types, spirits, and all that stuff are what you call psychic impression entities. What that means is that they're entirely composed of information stored in the psychic field, and in 99.9% of cases, what's inside matter, which is why the 3rd article is psychomaterial impression disruption, not psychoenergetic impression disruption. You, as a conscious thing, are pretty much just pulling everything around you at all times into what we call your local psychic system, and shorthand as mind. When you do this, your subconscious can both read psychic information from those things and write psychic information to them. In fact, it's doing that all the time at very low intensities. It's just that all the activity is below your awareness most of the time. A non-interactive psychic impression entity, Shitty Ghost, is a sensory and experimental information, qualia, that's stored in such a way that it's not just vague noise, but instead the sum of it describes a more complex mental state, experienced by a person at the time of storage. So like, let's say a bunch of people watch their loved one get hanged, right? Due to intense emotion, stress, they might write psychic information into the environment around them that contains their sense and emotional info at the time. If this information sits mostly undisrupted and someone else, such as you, picks it up, you might see the person who died and maybe even feel what they felt. Now, an interactive psychic impression entity is different and more complex, thus more rare. In this case, the information is stored enough that when your brain picks it up, it can basically form an interactive experience. Think about how you imagine you're speaking to someone and have them reply. It's like that, except the reply isn't formed by you. It's formed by the impression entity. It's not really conscious, it's just convincing your brain it is. These things are what you usually think of as the kind of ghosts people try to communicate with. They feel alive because your brain experiences them as a distinct mental entity, but they're not really hijacking your brain or anything. They can be unpleasant because they trigger unpleasant sensations, and they can sometimes stick in your head for a bit, but ultimately, they will be purged with time. There was the other type that I never had access to the article for that, but presumably it's an actual conscious entity that doesn't have a body, but beyond what can be inferred, I don't know what's up with those. Sounds like demons to me, Desu. Just for the record, I'm going to transcribe the pics and add in some supporting info. Last night I was thinking about it and honestly it might be worth it. If I could find something that could auto-transcribe the video, I'll do that, but I cannot be fucked to autistically write about nearly 95 minutes of lecture from a bored bureaucrat and then censor it. Even if I did have more free time than in the past. No idea how long it'll take, probably a few days minimum, I don't know. I'll post it when it's done. Worst case scenario, I get called a LARPer on a board full of LARPers. Start date, January 6th. Yes, that one. No, not that one. You started 2020. That January 6th was 2021. Press X to doubt. Good story, and I'd be inclined to believe you since I do believe in remote viewing and non-physical entities and such. But I don't know. Have you ever posted this online before? The reason I ask is because the mass data collection, analysis, and utilization is very non-paranormal. But it is real. And if your story's real, that's what's gonna fuck you in the ass. Your typing style, your dictation, your IP's geographic location, unless you use the VPN, your browser fingerprint, your use of keywords from the wiki. I do hope you change those. Make you stick out like a sore, very identifiable thumb. If they're really on some top secret shit, they're gonna link that up to you and come for you, if it's real. That said, glowies can tongue my anus. What's equally likely is some fat fuck in an office already scanned you and thought you're not much of a threat, but are still worth monitoring at a heightened level. January 6th was 2021. I just googled it actually, and I'm fucking stupid. I could have sworn it was 2020, right before COVID? Misremembering, I guess. Good story, but I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe. I fucked up the date on January 6th because I'm a bit stupid and was trying to make a joke. But I am gonna say that shit did happen. The thing with it is that it's non-physical in the sense that it's basically information, I guess. I don't know if that's the word. It's information/entropy related, not mass/energy. That's what Hugo told us. The reason you can measure it with pretty much anything but a brain right now is that you'd need to slap the material under an electron microscope, and that's what it's supposed to look like inside without a psychic impression to detect one physically. The reason I ask is because mass data collection, analysis, and utilization is very non-paranormal, but it is real, very identifiable. I spent like 2 days writing and rewriting this to make sure I pulled out anything identifiable, so I hope not. That's also where the November/December fuck up came from, and there were a few more I caught before posting. I made sure the names weren't the same as previous coworkers I had anywhere, not just at that company, because yeah, it would be bad, legally speaking. I don't fear the van necessarily, but they could sue me into poverty. These aren't government though. To be clear, they're private, but they have ex-government working there. They don't have access to an NSA database or some shit. If we had typing style analysis and could hack shit to get IP logs, we wouldn't have to do dumb shit like categorize graphic psychometric data. At best, a 9 out of 10 roll on being correct about my details of people's lives. That said, glowies can tongue my anus. Part of the reason I posted this, there's no reason for this to be secret. It's not even dangerous. In order, The 2020 versus 2021 thing's not a huge deal. It was just the first thing I noticed and wrote down before finishing writing it. Damn, that's interesting if this is you. Please post that and any other info you feel comfortable sharing. I want to hear more. I figured that you'd change the people's names. I just hope you didn't use any technical terms that were undeniably theirs, like, psychomaterial impression disruption. Does it show any results on Google other than here? I don't think it'd be hard to find your story and extrapolate who you were from it. If you're telling the truth about major events, despite name changes, they'd probably be able to run a report on who they fired and subsequently fired within that time frame, and where they worked. Not to mention, probably being able to bully poor Hero into giving your IP away. Yeah, fuck 'em. Anyway, I guess I'm trying to stay safe, but post any more info you're comfortable with. If this is you. That is me. And yeah, I'm looking into note-taking software right now. I'm sitting on my ass waiting for work to come in. I've used TiddlyWiki before, so I might do that. The screenshots are from a Confluence wiki. I just hope you didn't use any technical terms that were undeniably theirs. As far as I know, most of the terms were made up by the DIA people and the O's. I can't say for sure, of course, but considering that we had a few of them working for us, I'm guessing other companies do it too? It's all really straightforward stuff, to be frank. Psychomaterial, psychoenergetic, local psychic system, psychic divergence, psychic impression, psychic field, and so on. The most basic German-style word smashing I've ever seen. Example, a psychomaterial impression is a psychic impression on matter. A psychic impression is qualia information that gets transferred to a non-conscious mass/energy. You barely even need a dictionary to read most of those terms. Despite name changes, they'd probably be able to run a report on who they hired and subsequently fired within that time frame and where they worked. Actually, yeah, that's kind of concerning, but I guess I fucked myself already on it. I'll just hope that having moved states since then and given it a few years and posting it in the same place with regular succubus threads makes it unlikely they'll care. I can't believe some schizo hasn't already coined these terms anywhere. Maybe Google's indexing is just shit. In case you can't tell, I'm not exactly an infosec, still an office bitch. But post any more info you're comfortable with. It's gonna be 3 articles minus identifying details and maybe, if I can get an auto-transcriber, a transcription of the meeting. Then some other info that's needed for context on that stuff. It's not life-changing really, just interesting. Here the guy who made that 9-part green text posted a wiki where you could read what he transcribed. So this will be up for like 3 days. I don't think I want to post a thread about it, at least not yet. What the fuck is this? It's TiddlyWiki, I hate that name. That has the transcripts of the documents and meetings from here, along with my half-assed explanations of some of the shit they reference. Or, if you prefer, it's a gigantic LARP that I wasted 3 days on despite having no chance of gaining information from it besides being called an idiot. Believe whatever you want. It looks kinda professional. It's all software. Honestly, it's pretty much a web app that you can save notes into and distribute. I used it a few years ago for a journal I did. Something stupid. Read the FAQ thing I wrote up. You got way too much. I wasn't about to risk anything identifiable and conclusive. Before I get into the rest of the replies the guy replied to, I just want you to know that he said it was going to be up for 3 days. It was up for 3 days. I couldn't find this website saved on the Wayback Machine or Internet Archive, so all I got are these 2 screenshots posted in the same thread. I'll give it a quick read, and of course if you want to see what the wiki looked like, here's an image, and after I'm done reading this one, I'll show the other one. So yeah, you guys don't believe any of this shit, but whatever. I know it's real. Some of you will know it's real. Once you get through this, and I guess I'm doing this because I've had a lot more free time recently, and I need something to keep my mind occupied so I don't go nuts. I've used this wiki software in the past, but I'm not great at it, so expect some jankiness. No, it's not what they used at the company. That was Confluence. I looked it up after posting the green text. To restate this, because there are a lot of morons on X, these are transcripts, not the originals. This TiddlyWiki is not the company wiki. Anything not marked transcript is made entirely by me from memory to help contextualize the transcripted content. I know someone still is going to think I'm presenting this as original files, but at least now I have a giant bold statement to point to. Transcript of article pics. Transcript. Non-interactive psychic impression entities. Transcript. Interactive psychic impression entities. Transcript. Psychomaterial impression disruption. These are the static articles I took pics of before my company wiki access got revoked. Because I'm a paranoid fuck, I'm not gonna post the OG images. but I've gone and transcribed the content on them here. Some sections needed to be cut entirely, and I didn't fuck around with removing things that I thought might be identifying after an Anon reminded me that shit like serial numbers can easily be searched and proven to trace back to the company. So yeah, expect a lot of a thing cuts in some parts. I tried my best to describe what was removed well enough that the document can be followed. Transcript of the meeting video. Machine General transcript. Intro into parapsychology. That was just the start page. This is one of the transcripts that actually had a screenshot that were mentioned in the start page. Risk. Similar to NIPIEs, IPIEs present a significant risk of contaminating psychometric data during remote viewing sessions. Additionally, due to their pseudo-consciousness and interactive nature, IPIEs have the potential to exert a sustained mental influence, thereby introducing contamination risk well after initial contact, and increasing the physical risk they pose through sensory and emotional dysregulation as a result of responsive activity. It is important to note that IPIEs are not inherently capable of exerting physical forces. Rather, the physical threat they represent is contingent upon the actions of their accessors. Additionally, an IPIE can react to mental states and thoughts, thus no physical actions are required to trigger an IPIE response. For illustrative purposes, considering the following scenarios. An IPIE may manifest a sensory effect that could lead to motor vehicle collision in response to the driver's actions and mental state. An IPIE may manifest a sensory effect that prompts the accessor to enter a hazardous area under false pretenses. An IPIE may manifest a sensory effect that persuades the accessor to misuse prescribed medication. An IPIE may manifest a sensory effect that causes the accessor to experience an acute mental distress or psychosis. The longest recorded IPIE persistence time is 150 hours post removal of them, and the screenshot ends. Now back to the poster replying to people.
You know, I could actually believe this is taken from a corporate document, given how they spend the entire first half of the section insisting that something isn't dangerous, and then list out a whole bunch of ways that the thing they were talking about can fuck you over, with each one being more terrifying than the last if you think about it. It's not dangerous, it just has the potential to make you crash your car, make you wander off into the woods and die, talk you into overdosing on perks or Xans, or harass you to the point you break down and kill yourself. By the way, you don't get paid time off if you encounter one of these things, unless you're one of the guy who torches the entire room that it was found in, and then grinds up all the floor tiles and scatters them to the wind. This is pretty decent writing, don't get me wrong, but I don't really believe it's real. I'm just waiting for the part where the managers offer a pizza party if you encounter a ghost or something. There's some surprisingly dark humor in here for something that doesn't have jokes in it.
Unless you're in a recollection article, i.e. the one I wrote myself, I can assure you that humor isn't intentional. We also didn't get pizza parties when I was in the office. Sadly, the HR was more of an old style department from what I could tell. I'm guessing today it's probably globalist central though. I remember getting vibes of that before I got fired. Not that any office today isn't. I guess I should probably note here that these are this poster's opinions on office culture, not the horror highways. The only things I actually made are the content in the recollection articles, the FAQ, and I guess the machine transcripts if you count the work that went into getting the software that actually work. Everything else is stuff I was transcribing from picture sources. The software that make it render all nice is linked under one of my posts. It's pretty easy to use but hilariously impractical for any kind of actual wiki work. I figured that would be easier than learning how to make a linked PDF doc since I already knew how to use it. I'm kinda realizing that a random HTML/JavaScript doc might look way more suspect than I thought it would.